We are back for the very first time. My name is Blane Pierre. I am sitting with Anwar Taylor, the creator of PLASMAworlds. How are you this evening, sir?
Hey, all is well. It's a beautiful rainy day in San Francisco today.
Oh, we are hoping to get some down in here in LA. They're just teasing us with clouds, but you are lucky to be up in rain.
Yeah, it's always a blessing.
So we're back. I'm happy to be back. We're talking about PLASMAworlds. This time we're jumping into part 2, Focus Minds. But before we jump into part 2, I want to recap part 1 because there was so much that happened. In part 1 of Tunnel Vision, we meet our main character, and he becomes obsessed with a woman. And this obsession leads to him coming face to face with this woman in the most tragic way you can imagine.
Yeah, unfortunately, didn't work out for him.
but it speaks to tunnel vision and maybe focusing on what you want. Getting it won't always be the way you think it'll be. You know?
Right. And then he still got what he was looking for, huh?
He still got what he was looking for in a way, you know, in a very tragic way that you can leave the reader questioning, you know, not only, you know, how life in the future is lived, not just by humans, but how existence may be experienced, not just by humans. I think sometimes we have this tunnel vision that life is only lived by people, you know? And
yeah, we do.
It's like, shit, everything has an experience. Everything has an existence, you know?
Right,
right. And that's what I was left in. So after you rip our hearts out and destroy dreams in part 1,
damn,
you jump us
unintended.
You jump us into the past, unintended for sure. If you don't know what I'm talking about, read it and find out. So we drop into what you label immediately the past. So we don't know how far back in the past, but we know that this is the past of what we just witnessed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And as we jump into Focus Minds, we are introduced to, I should say, Zekas X. Am I pronouncing that right? Because
Zekas, like Picasso. Zekas X. Picasso, Zekas, Zekas X. Yeah.
Okay, Zekas X. And Zekas X is, at least the way I read it, a master of his universe. A hustler of those hustlers. He has figured out, they have figured out a way to not only be more productive, but be more than one person to push that production, working up to 120 hours a week, as you put it.
You gotta solidify the access to economy.
Absolutely. But I mean, it shows the type of hustle that people have had to adapt even recently. You know, a lot of work from home stuff has changed to where people are now working longer and more because they're at home.
And I wrote this before COVID. That's the crazy part. I don't necessarily know anyone that is doing the 2-job thing yet. Have you heard any stories?
Yeah, about doing 2 jobs from home? No, but I'm sure once they can figure it out and how to get paid twice, I mean, come on, you know. If you could be teaching some kids on this screen and tutoring the same kids on this screen at the same damn time, hustle.
Hey, sky's the limit, limitless possibility.
Indeed. You just, your cell phone here, you throw a filter over on here, they don't know.
Imagine you're a manager and you're the associate at the same time. So you're managing yourself, but you're getting paid 2 salaries?
Why not?
Anwar, your team is so strong.
Well, it's the communication factor. We really know how to communicate with each other. And we're both willing to just work at any given time. That's
right.
What it takes. That's what it takes.
Tandem. It's a tandem experience.
Now, I think that this is the funny thing, because immediately after what you did to us in the last chapter, you specifically mentioned that Zekas X is part of the human population, and not so different from many of the humans of this time in terms of how they work. Now, I find it interesting that you specifically let us know that he was human, that they were human.
Yeah.
Because I got to keep remembering it's multiple people. You know, it's multiple people across all different spectrums.
Right.
But you specifically say that they are part of the human population. Now, is there a reason that you wanted the readers to specifically know that Zakas X was human?
I definitely wanted to distinguish, but also like Zakas X has it going on, right? 2 jobs, you know, all teched out with the virtual reality and the physical everything, right? With the housekeeper and everything. But also, where is Zakas X all day? In the house. So it's like as if like it makes you wonder, like, are the robots having all the fun in the future?
You know, this is one thing what I read is like you keep blurring the lines or making people question sort of the distinction between living and existing. And exactly what you mentioned is what I felt. Are the robots really living while people are existing? You know?
Yeah.
And existing for a 100-foot square place.
Right.
What are you existing for?
Efficient minimalism.
You know? Why? You know, and you know, these 20-hour swings that you mentioned the robots were, it's at least I was like, well, at least they get that 4 hours. You know, this dude's inside all the time. You know? And the digital life that Zakas X lives, we're not very far from that now.
Right.
One of the things I've noticed, and something that's been said to me, I've heard other people say it, maybe I thought about it myself, but at this point, it's either you're delivering something to somebody for a job or you're being delivered to. And that seems to be that's bad facts, you know? And that seems to be that the way the whole economy, the whole world is sort of leaning to. And so I wonder if Zakas isn't going to be what we become. You know, are we going to lose that want to go out once we can experience everything digitally? And you know, how far do you think that type of future is away? Because I mean, I'm excited to be able to out and experience the world digitally, you know? I can't lie.
Yeah, it's here. It's here. When I was in New York in the summertime and I was outside walking around and stuff, like definitely the people that I saw were working, like for sure.
Yeah.
Like it was very few casual people out in New York, the city, one of the biggest, you know, most metropolitan cities on the planet. You could tell that the people that were outside were working. And so where's everybody else? In the house. Also working. And so, and remember, we must always remember, I wrote this before COVID.
Indeed you did, before we were inside.
PLASMAworlds is the future, and we don't know when this stuff is going to come true. And in this case, it came true like 2 weeks later.
Not that we are, and I love that you call it a subverse. And I want to know how you came up with that, because I love that expression of it being a subverse, not another universe, but a subverse of this verse, because once we enter that digital space, we are definitely in a different world. Can you expand on relationships? Because it's something that you mentioned very specifically in how they function in this future. I can see why this is the way things are leaning this way, especially in the digital age where you can swipe to pick a mate. You know, everything becomes sort of single serving or, you know, self-serving. As can you talk about why or expand on how you explicitly described his relationship? Because I found it interesting, but once again lacking humanity and being more robotic than human.
Yeah, I mean, Zakas X's whole world takes place on the computer, on the internet, and in Subverse, which is essentially virtual reality. And, you know, I've worked on virtual reality video game projects before. And so I know just like how tunnel vision that world is. Like you're literally just looking, you know, through a lens at an infinite reality. And so since Zakas's whole world takes place there, then it's like, so do his relationships. But Zakas X, you know, especially given that Zakas X is named after Picasso, The only difference is that, you know, it's the future, so we replace the P with the Z, and then
Okay.
instead of Zakas O, it's Zakas X. I mean Zakas X, because we want to keep it gender neutral because we're in the future, and the Latin language, you know, is being pushed upon in today's age. So in the future, it's definitely going to be just, you know,
Absolutely.
easy. This is going to be a part of the culture. When it comes to Zakas X's partners, yeah, I just envision that, you know, Zakas X is an artist and obviously really talented at multitasking and being really efficient. And so I just imagine that Zakas X kind of pushes the limits on their dating experience. And so we don't know, maybe they're speed dating, maybe, you know, maybe it's all actually purely platonic. And this is just how they categorize their platonic internet-based friendship. Maybe they're playing a game, World of Warcraft. I don't know. I mean, but there's a lot of different, you know, opportunities on the internet to connect with a specific group of people and do whatever you want. And that's essentially what's happening when we open the chapter.
Okay. All right. I like that. At this point, the portrait of the future life that you portray, many people would consider this to be an ideal life. We are introduced to a service robot, and once again, through I can say your excellent authorship, I'm left feeling sorry for a robot. Now,
how'd that happen?
Well, I'll tell you how it happened. It's honestly because the struggles that you impart on these characters are so familiar to the world today. We see it with our own eyes. We see it when we walk outside. You know, and I wonder, you know, in as much as we hear the government or certain politicians talk about a baseline salary for all people, because a lot of things are going to become automated. You know, I really wonder what we're going to do to not only save that, but the future you paint is very much what I think it'll be. All the stuff nobody really wants to do, robots will do. And once again, we get into existence and life. And there's, when you're talking about this specific service robot,
yeah,
and how she's only a couple years old, but like 7 series down, it literally made me want to never throw away my phone again. Like, I'm gonna rock an iPhone 7 forever because I feel bad for my phone. I just don't want to retire it, you know? And
yeah,
and but the struggles, and you definitely made them more, you made them a tribute to a robot's reality, but the struggles were still very human, very now, very of the time. And it's appreciated, but once again, these deeply human issues you're attributing to robots.
Yeah. I feel like it's just an opportunity to really be like brash on humanity, right? It's an opportunity to kind of step aside from any thought of humility, to really tap into confidence and to lay into what I would hope to be a thought-provoking narrative and story style that, you know, allows us to look at ourselves and speculate and wonder and also just be like, damn, this is actually exactly how it's gonna be, because this is exactly how it is. So
it is. And
yeah, I think it's kind of like a defense mechanism.
Okay.
But escaping it through sci-fi, and then I become empowered to just really do whatever the fuck I want to, right?
And you do, and you are vicious with the sword.
I appreciate that.
Well, it's definitely meant, and I think that you're absolutely right. You gravitate to these characters, and when you speak about your narrative style, let me ask, who inspires your writing? Because if anything, your writing begs to be written. It's quick, it's descriptive, and I don't use this word loosely, but vicious, you know, when it needs to be. So who inspired your writing, or where do you draw inspiration from when it comes to writing?
I definitely draw my inspiration from authors in hip hop and literature. And so, like on the literature note, there's like definitely Stephen King, Octavia Butler, Robert E. Howard, Pablo Neruda. On the music side, there's like MF Doom, The Weeknd, Immortal Technique, Wu Tang, like yeah, just all those artists that like took you places. Rock Marciano, like they Griselda, they take you into that world and they give you those details, but they only have like, you know, these days 2 minutes to tell the song, and in these days it's just one verse. And so, right. But at the same time, they have a story to tell you, and so that shit moves, like, you know.
It does.
And so that's what I try to bring to the writing. I try to bring movement that paints the story just like music does.
Okay, and it does. I ask the questions between existence and life because at this point we're experiencing the plights of this robot that are once again very human plights, and just as there seems to be light, all is extinguished, and our main subject of this chapter is gone. But the thing that I noticed is that not only did life go on, but life went on almost immediately and without any pause. And
world. Blane.
Oh man. Cause I was there with it, you know, it's and there's this thing you do a couple times in this chapter where you'll end a paragraph with a word like caught or got her. And it's so you're like, you're hinting that it's coming, but as the reader, you're like, nah, she's gonna make it. And oh boy, do you know how to kill hope. That's what happens.
She was just trying to get there.
She was just trying to get there.
She'd purchased the rocket booster. She was moving at speeds she hadn't in so long. She really felt alive again, you know?
Should have slowed down. Should have slowed down.
I guess she couldn't handle that speed, huh?
Yeah,
it wasn't for her.
Should have pumped her brakes.
You shouldn't purchase just everything. You should just get what's for you.
Well, you know, once again, in a tribute to your writing, you are forced to root for her. How could you not root for this person?
Right.
Just trying to better their life.
Just trying to upgrade their hardware a little bit, you know.
In a system that you know you can't win in. You know,
the powers that be won't give her a maintenance update.
Let me just look at the readers real quick. Let me tell the readers. You want to read this shit in the daytime, okay? You will be questioning everything. I do want to let people know, or if you can let people know, where they can get that fresh PLASMAworlds gear, first off, and where they can read chapter 2 and preview, or read chapter 3 if they like, real quick.
Okay, cool. So PLASMAworlds.com. It's so easy, you know. Type that in and then boom, you get the stories, you get the digital gear, you get the digital shop that takes you to the gear. You get the videos. I'm even reading, you know, for your listening pleasure, part 1 on YouTube, like some old man at an elementary school or something. You get access to Instagram. You know what?
It's the best audiobook you're gonna get this year. All right, do yourself a favor. Preview PLASMAworlds, read by Mr. Anwar Bay Taylor. Right. All right, check that out on YouTube.
Exactly.
Don't use it as a bedtime story for your kids.
No, definitely use it. Yes, let it take you there.
You will have to answer questions you are not prepared for.
Light one up and just let it take you there. You know
just let it take you there. Indeed, it is a journey.
But don't forget, Boy Pilo is not playing.
No.
She's about her money.
And in fact, we are gonna find out more about Boy Pilo in part 3, Hearts Devoured. Is that right?
Hearts Devoured.
Got it coming up.
Names are these.
Yeah, I mean, these titles just, man, they let you know. You know, it's wild out here. It's wild out here, you know. But listen, real quick, I just want to thank everybody again for spending this time with us, listening to PLASMAworlds, learning a little bit more about PLASMAworlds. Make sure you check the IG, Facebook, YouTube. But we will
At
be back.
PLASMAworlds.
Yeah, definitely check out at PLASMAworlds everywhere you can, IG, Facebook, all that. We are going to be back next week with part 3, Hearts Devoured. I am Blane Pierre. Thank you, Anwar Bay Taylor, again.
Thank you, Blane.
Once again, we will see you in the future. Thank you.
Peace, y'all.